We're with Colby Jubenville from beautiful Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or you tell people you're from Nashville?
No, Nashville is so far away that we call Murfreesboro the bubble. And so back 20 years ago when I moved there to Murfreesboro, they'd say, "What are you doing today?" And I said, "I'm going up to Nashville." They're like, "All the way up to Nashville?" I'm like, "All the way up to Nashville." So we're 32 miles outside. So much has changed in Middle Tennessee, and planned on coming for 1 year to Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
From where?
From Eastern Kentucky University. My first job in higher ed was in Richmond, Kentucky. There's a comedian that says, "When the world ends, I hope I'm in Richmond because they won't find out about it until 20 years later." And that's where I started my life, married and living at 643 Oldham Avenue in what I would consider to be now Section 8 housing, Section 8, Section 9, I mean 9.5. And after 1 year, I met some really, really fantastic people in Richmond, and most of them did their terminal degree at MTSU. And I said to Katie, "We're moving. I don't care where it is, but we're moving somewhere." And got an interview, got hired, planned on coming for a year, and 25 years later have just had an incredible ride. And I think the best is yet to come.
That's in beautiful Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is an affordable place to live too.
Not anymore.
It's going crazy also.
Yeah. But the good news is you can sell used chewing gum and make money. And so you don't even have to be that intelligent. You just got to show up and say something. And the house that you could buy 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago for $400,000 is probably now where it sells for $1 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Because Nashville got so hot, so that's the place to go.
Yeah. And I mean, Tennessee, the state lawmakers and those people that are in county leadership roles and city leadership roles truly have a vision for the future. And it starts with great infrastructure. It starts with a defined education system and tax-free living.
Yeah. Taxes are good in Tennessee.
There's no state income tax.
That's a plus.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting. You know, I started the podcast years ago. How is it possible that it's years ago already? And it is because one of your buddies, Coach Burt, has a coaching program. And so I was in that, and I think that's a good program for a lot of people to go through. Pick your poison, whichever one you want. He's good at motivating and kind of getting the fire lit. And so he said, well, you know, they're like, why wouldn't you do a podcast if you have a business? This is another form of advertising.
Yeah.
And so along with the form of advertising for the podcast, another reason that I did it is because I've done a lot of business ventures and done a lot of things. I think, you know, Colby and I talk a bunch on the phone, so we know each other pretty well. And I tell him I'm nobody special, you know, because I'm not. But I do show up, and I've done a lot of things. And if I put a resume together and it didn't have my name on it, I'd be like, damn, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, you're your mom's 40-year overnight success, right? and Bert does a great job. I think, you know, we both have a connection to him. And Michael said to me years ago when I was trying to make sense of my own life, he said to me years ago, "Who are you waiting on permission from to be successful?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Do you know who you're talking to?" And I started listing off all my accomplishments. And he said, "I'm not talking about in the inside of higher education.
Yeah.
I'm talking about getting out here, hand to hand, combat, fighting, and helping people figure it out for themselves."
Yeah.
And so I credit him partly for doing that. Much to your point about find a coaching program, get with a coach that will help you take the next step. Because I think most of us, if we're given the opportunity to take the next step, then we can get to where we want to go. The 3 brain abilities says the first brain ability, I can do it. Instantly followed by that, this second brain ability, I can't do it.
Because the I can't do it's going to overpower the I can do it.
That's right. And then the third brain ability is I will do it. Transformation. And so you got to the third brain ability. I got to the third brain ability. That comes from a book called Think Better by Herson. And he said, struggle helps us think better, make better decisions, and communicate better.
Yeah.
Which is why you have a podcast today.
Well, is your passion having or helping people figure out for themselves where they want to go?
If you boiled it down into, I think its most basic form, the essence of it, it is truly to help people try to make sense of their own life. What I realized in speaking, I used to think that speaking was about me. It's not. And once you make this shift, it changes the way that you approach the audience. It's about the audience. And what I realized, the more that I went to each place and spoke, was that everybody in there is trying to make sense of their own life.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's ever going away. And I would submit to you today more than ever, I think it's even more difficult to make sense of your own life.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of noise everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
And the noise
in the palm of your hand.
The noise is louder and more accessible than any other time in the history of the world.
Yeah, big time. So back to the, having the podcast and why it happened, it was also to see where the branches on this tree would take us and where a podcast could take you. It was a complete unknown. And that was one of the reasons I did it. Just blanket, no BS. Where will this thing lead us? And what's really crazy is the people that have been across from me at this table, and you've got a doctor in front of your name, all the scholastic credentials you can have.
Yeah.
And
people will submit their own intelligence to you based on two things: an English accent and a PhD. So, yeah, I don't have an English accent, although mine from Mobile, Alabama is pretty damn good. But I do have a PhD, and yes, I do have those credentials. But surprisingly, or I think what speaks to who I really am, is the only reason I did that is I walked into a building at Southern Miss where I'd ultimately get that PhD in human performance, and these two guys said I wasn't smart enough to do it. And so I turned something inside me, stirred up, and I went back in and I got that graduate catalog, and I read it cover to cover, and I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure out a way to do it.
Was it the bite off an elephant, one bite at a time?
Oh, that, and showing up every day and realizing it's a war of attrition. I can still, there's so many stories I could tell about that, but what happened for me prior to that at Millsaps is I fell in love with learning, and I became a student of the process. And I took those very basic ideas of how to study and how to learn at Millsaps and applied those to specialized knowledge at Southern Miss in human performance. And I took this one class from a guy named Walter Cooper. He had a class called Systems Thinking and Learning. And out of all those classes at Southern, the light bulb went off, and I took notes, and I'd see him after class. Cooper, if you look him up, you can still find him today. He founded something called the Atlanta Consulting Group, and they worked in systems for companies like Tyson. And I said to him, everything that you say, I know is the truth. It was based on Deming's 14 Points and Out of Crisis, a book that Deming wrote. And Deming is the guy that's credited for going to Japan and putting Japan back online after we had to make them behave.
Holy moly.
And so I said, what you're saying is just so truthful that I know I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life doing it. I don't have the confidence. I don't have the know-how to do it. But can I take you over to this restaurant across the street called Chesterfield's and buy you a glass of wine and learn more about it and how you did this? And so I took notes. We'd meet, it was a night class. We'd meet over at Chesterfield's, and he just walked me through how he started the consulting group. And so those seeds were planted in me. And I said, one day, I don't know how, but I'm going to start a consulting group. And today, that idea is galvanized through something called being a trusted advisor.
Yeah.
And all that started for me at Southern Miss, and taking that one class that led me to write a dissertation. Think about how full circle this is on the coach-athlete relationship. So past making sense of helping people make sense of their own life, at the core of who I am is a coach that gets in the boat with other people and has a seat at the table in the inner circle understands that person both personally and professionally. People that say we separate those things that you have to or you need to, you can't. You can't separate those things in the world we live in today. And so I sit with those people at the table. They tell me the truth about what's really going on, and I help move the pieces around. And that started by writing a dissertation on the coach-athlete relationship. It's really crazy.
It is nuts.
It's nuts.
Was that the first time that had been written?
No, there's
anything on coach-athlete relationships,
no.
or their books galore on that?
Oh, yeah. There was a guy, it was really big in the Canadian literature, and there was a guy named Rush Hall, and I studied all of his works. I think his first name is Brent Rushall, and he was the expert in the coaching academic discipline. And I zeroed in on the relationship because I said to myself, what really is the key to all of it to make it work or not work? It's the relationship. Saban, when he's talking Armageddon, and he's talking about what is the great joy of coaching. He said the greatest joy of coaching is putting all that effort, putting all that energy, and seeing that player make the change. And he said, and the thing that you have to understand, if you choose to do that, if you choose to commit your life to other people in that way, the same thing could happen without the outcome that you want. You could put in the energy. You could put in the effort. And he looks at Contayon and says, I have. And there's times in my career where the change just doesn't happen, and that is part of coaching.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, I resonated with it because I think about some of the relationships that I've had where it doesn't work. And if you're driving in your quiet moments and you get up, like you do in your 50s, and you get up at 3:30 and you go to the gym, and on the way to the gym, you actually start asking yourself, well, why didn't it work the way that you wanted it to work? And I've always been fascinated about what are the forces at work that lead some people to get here and other people to get here. And I started to ask myself, can we control those forces in such a way that they can make sense of their life, build the right relationship, take that first step and say, I can do it. And then when that pressure comes that says they can't do it, that they'll say, I'll keep fighting through it to outlast the other people.
I'm using that, tying it to running an organization with managers, general managers, trying to get stuff done, trying to get processes in place that work, and finding out when are these people there. You could tell them all day long, player, student, employee, what you want and expect and train and coach. And sometimes their nose is just against the wall.
Yeah.
Well, when do you say, hey, this ship's not going to sail?
Well, I think you're asking the wrong question. I think the real question is, when are we going to get everybody in the room that is in this organization and stand in front of them and say, here's the agreed upon reality. This is what's really going on here. My name is Tommy. I have built these restaurants and these different cultures that drive these hospitality entities. I know what it takes to work. This is how this new asset is currently performing. This is what's really going on here. And let me paint the picture for you of what it's going to look like. This is where we're all going to go together, get agreement on the reality.
This is step one on
changing organizations. Step one is agreed upon reality and agreed upon future. If you think about a continuum, on this side on the left is agreed upon reality. This is what's really going on here. On the right is agreed upon future. This is where we want to go. And in the middle is the tension that holds it together. And the tension is either held by two things. Dysfunction, which is what you're describing.
Yeah.
I quit, but I didn't tell anybody. That's a real book from the 1970s.
That sounds about right.
Or culture. And if you continue to dysfunction, then here's what happens is you have something called the dance. And so people get into the dance with their spouse. They get into the dance with their children. They get into the dance with the organization. And so what you've got going on is the dance. And until you as the leader come in and say, we're going to admit today as a group in front of everybody else, this is what's going on. Then we're going to talk about where we all can go together and how everybody can win together. And then we're going to talk about the dysfunction. And then I'm going to talk to you about the culture that we're going to create. And we're going to use that culture every day. And here's the key phrase that I say when I go into companies. We're going to build the culture and the competencies. Emotional intelligence is an example of a competency that's going to drive the culture. That we are going to recruit, coach, teach, train, develop, promote. Recruit, coach, teach, train, develop, and promote to. That is what a human being goes through within an organization. We're going to use these things, right? If you walk into organizations and you say, does leadership matter? Oh, yeah. Leadership matters, Colby. Yeah. Okay, so what's your definition of leadership? Oh, they wander for like an hour. And so I said, no, here's a menu. To go back to Bonner Enterprises, here's your menu.
I know the podcast is over. We're good. I learned everything I needed to know. Thanks for coming from Tennessee. Colby, we had a good time. We were going to go get barbecue, but I'm going to get you some Dairy Queen on the way out and a ride to the airport.
No, not Dairy Queen, La Playa.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go to La Playa.
I mean, I can't believe you would throw him under the bus after the way he treated us. Recruit, but use that statement for the rest of your life. Recruit, coach, teach, train, develop, and promote. That is the life cycle of a person in an organization. And what we do is we don't tell people the truth. We don't say what's really going on here. I confronted my leader and I said, hey, I don't trust you. Mm-hmm. And you know what the leader said back? I don't trust you either. That's not the right response. If an employee comes to a leader and says, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
The leader should step into the employee and say, tell me more about why you don't. So then I said back to him when he said that to me, I said, you must not read the books on leadership. It doesn't matter if you trust me. You're the leader. You signed up for this. Mm-hmm. For this to work, I have to believe you have good intentions for me. I have to believe that you're competent. We have to put agreements in place. And when agreements are not met, swift action has to be taken. But I thought it was so telling for someone to say, well, I don't trust you either. That's the easy answer. If you said to me, hey, Colby, I don't trust you. Man, let's dig into that and figure out why we ended up where we did and what needs to happen to resolve this in such a way that we can move forward to the reality we want to create together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm ready to go to Dairy Queen.
Damn, that was juicy right there. That was really good. Again, that's the point.
I feel like this is a late night television show.
Well, this
and then we've got your dad over here.
We got Dad in the live studio audience. He's the only one that shows up.
And so Johnny Carson is here, and then who was the guy next to him that spent all his money? His sidekick. And so that's your dad. He's over there just laughing at the stuff we're saying.
Yeah. Well, he comes in, and I like to give him the pre-show to the show, but I guess nobody knows. Colby wanted to wake up at like 5 a.m. or 4:30 and
Colby did wake up at 5 a.m.
and do this podcast from like 6 to, he goes, let's just go for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And let's just drink coffee. And
can't you, that's better than drinking other things. Can't you see that I can go for 3 hours?
Well,
Bring me the next question.
But so Colby likes to get up early, but so do I. But Colby gets up earlier than me. So
Colby likes to get up really early.
Yeah. Which I think is great. I don't know if you can contribute success to people getting up earlier and getting stuff done or what that does for people. But I know that when I get up and I have a game plan, it could be a long laundry list.
Yeah.
I can knock that thing out by lunch, and then I got all afternoon to go in and do whatever else I want to do. Like today, I have no plans after lunch, but I know there's going to be business in there. It'll be fun. And so getting up early kind of clears your schedule for the afternoon most of the time. I feel like it's impossible to run at full speed all day long.
No, I think you have the most clarity when you get up early. I think the first 90 minutes of your day set the trajectory of the rest of your day. So the question that you should be asking, anybody should be asking themselves, that's worldwide audience listening to the podcast, is what do you do in the first 90 minutes? Well, we know this. Our confidence is under attack every single day. Our confidence is under attack. The first thing we have to teach people, if they want to go and do the kinds of things that you're doing, the first thing we have to teach them is to develop, protect, and maintain their confidence. So how do you do that? It starts with routine. It starts with supplements. It starts with discipline. It starts with being part of something, of a cause that's bigger than yourselves. I mean, the building blocks are there. Mm-hmm. It's just the noise and the distraction, to come full circle of what we talked about early, keeps them in such a place that they can't make sense of their own life. And the easy thing to do is just to try to say, well, I woke up and did the best I could today. If you ask people in business if they're working as hard as they can, their answer is always what?
Yeah, no.
No, they are. They'll tell you they are. Yeah, if you walk in and I say, man, if I go and interview people and I go, and you're working in this organization, and I go, Tommy, are you working as hard as you can
in the organization?
Yeah, and they'll go, God, yeah, I'm working. Yeah, you're sitting from the leader and saying that from the leader's role. But here's one of the things Deming says. Covey said this. The most difficult thing in business, it was one or the other. Either or both of them have bald heads. The most difficult thing in business is to convince good people that they can do better.
Yeah.
And that starts with the first 90 minutes of your day, every single day.
Oh, it's business these days is crazy. Even implementing a damn cell phone, people having their cell phone behind them while they're working and getting distracted and pushing. And so how do you get the most out of these performers?
Yeah, I think it starts with showing them what the opportunity is for them, to giving them a clear path and a plan about how they can move up within the organization.
What does a clear path and moving up in an organization look like for a line cook that
that's a great
does
question.
not have the talent or abilities to manage an entire kitchen?
Well, there's three reasons why people don't perform for you.
It's probably always my fault.
Well, no. Number one, they don't trust you. No, and we could talk about that for 30 minutes. Number two, their skills are misaligned with the job that you put them in. Misalignment. Or number three, they've got inner conflict.
So and I'm only using a line cook because that's what business we're in. But let's say you've got a guy that owns a landscaping company, and
we can take. I mean, the same truths are there for the landscaper and the line cook. It's very, very labor intensive work. It's very emotional work. There are days that probably every day at some point you want to quit. But if we go back to the line cook or the person that's working on the front lines of the landscaping, they're people. They're human beings. They go home to their own life just like you and me and sit in their own skin. They just do it in a different environment. And so if we know that that's true, it's your job to build a relationship in such a way that they will give their best version of themselves. If you ask me truly what a coach's job is, and the person you're coaching has to know this, the coach's job at its core is to help that person create the best version of themselves. So they've got to know that. Then from there, you got to ask yourself, if he can't lead other people, then we don't right now need to put him in a leadership role. Then you sit down with that person and you say, hey, you're great at hitting the numbers, at keeping the trains moving, and delivering the mail on the food. And I love it. I want you at some point to be able to transition to lead this team, but you're not there yet. But if you look over here at John was where you were 5 years ago, and now he's the general manager of the entire operation. And if you'll stay with me and work with me and develop your skills and take baby steps along the way, and we build trust together so that I know when I leave that you'll be here and can lead the team and solve the problems and keep the machine moving, then there is a place for you long term here where it's a win for you, it's a win for me, and it's a win for the organization.
So if you tell them all that and make those promises, when does it stop that an athlete, a line cook, a landscape guy just doesn't have the talent, and that's where they need to sit? When do you say,
enough's enough?
When do you say, hey, this is where you're going to sit forever with us?
To me, you've got to show them a better way forward. If you let kids do whatever they want to do, what are the kids going to do?
Whatever they want.
That's right. Well, all adults are big kids. So you've got to paint the picture of what is possible. And then before you can get to version 2, you got to build version 1. I'm of the belief, and if you don't believe this, then it will create dissonance for you. But I am of the belief that you are put into this world with greatness, and it can be pulled out of everyone. But it's the job of the leader to figure out how to show them how that is possible. And if you do get to that place where you've tried and tried and tried and looked at those 3 areas, trust, misalignment, inner conflict, and you can't resolve them, then you do have to say, you're not passionate about what we're passionate about, and I'm going to free you up to go chase your passion doing something else.
That'd be great. That's going to be my new, this isn't working out.
Well,
I'm going to free you up.
Yeah.
To
Ed McMahon. We've got, it just hit me. Your dad is our Ed McMahon today.
Yeah.
And you're Johnny Carson, and I'm just the guest here today. So I'm just here as the guest. Ed needs to start laughing more at my jokes to make me feel good. And where is the free coffee cup that you said that you would give me that said Paint Rock Coffee? Where's that?
Remember when you were saying that you don't trust me?
And I mean, I'm here destroying your whole brand with a pick-pack styrofoam coffee cup. And you promised me, Colby, if you get on that Southwest plane, if you go through all the delays,
yes,
if you pack up your bags and head this way, and I will have a Paint Rock Coffee Company coffee cup. So that's coming in the mail to me?
I guess I should send those out.
Thank you.
You know, this is like the podcast studios at the airplane hangar. It's kind of separate from all the restaurants and stuff. But
how many restaurants total? I'm going to start interviewing you.
Just a couple.
Yeah, 9?
No, I mean, not really. Yes, but no.
What? Yeah. Tell me more.
Yeah.
This sounds like a woman I met in the 90s.
There is 5 big full-scale restaurants, and then there are 4 coffee shops. So that makes 9 different establishments that we operate in and out of every single day. And I'm working on number 10. Hopefully Connie doesn't listen to this podcast.
Connie don't listen?
I don't know if she does or not. I call her anyway and harass her every day. She runs my life.
I'm thinking about just shutting it down in Murfreesboro and coming and running one of these establishments. You know, I got my start. To come full circle again, I got my start. I convinced myself in Hattiesburg that I could not finish this PhD. I just gotten to the end and could not figure it out. And so there were some really great people. They were actually from Mobile, my hometown. You know Mobile, I call it the womb of greatness.
The womb of greatness.
Went to St. Paul's in Mobile. AJ McCarron and Jake Coker, national championship quarterbacks, graduated from St. Paul's. Won state championships, and back in the 90s and 80s when I played, we went 2-8 my junior year. And
that's really good.
well, there's a point to the story. You've got to set the foundation for greatness.
Okay.
And so these folks named the Deakles were in Hattiesburg, and they owned a restaurant called Wild Magnolia. And on one night, they caught me at the right time. I was up at this Mexican restaurant called Raul's. Always got the chicken sandwich. And they said, you should come run this restaurant for us. Here's why I say that to you. What I learned in running a restaurant, it was a fine dining restaurant at the bottom with a bar and a late night crowd at the top. And it was a 14-hour day.
Oh yeah.
And I would walk out of there, and the only thing you could do is chain smoke and drink beer to calm yourself down after being on fire for 14 hours. And I said to myself, looking back on that time period of my life, that was some of the most emotionally exhaustive work I have ever done. So the challenge to get people to work in that environment and do it well, you didn't just go and, the people that, to me, if I come back in my next life, I want to be the people that said, you know what we should do? We should stripe parking lots, buy them 40 years before they're just worth so much, and build machines that just charge people money to come in and out and park their cars.
Yeah.
That's not what you're doing.
It'd be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Well, what you're talking about is always in the back of my brain. I've never been a coach. I'm just a lawn guy. But I really want...
that's a defense mechanism to do that.
Probably, but...
and it's not true.
I am a lawn guy.
We're sitting in a hangar that you built, obviously, with a podcast studio, and there's boats, helicopters, and planes in the hangar. So I would say I don't see any lawnmowers out there.
There are lawnmowers out there.
I mean, the story you told me about your electrician and retiring, and all he wanted to do was cut the lawn.
Yeah.
And then you text him and give him a score each time you went by.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that just shows me the coach is in you. I mean, you're coaching the guy. 8.2.
Yeah.
9.1. Buys a 0-turn mower. He's waiting for that every day.
I'm going to text him today. I'm glad we drove by.
Well, I want to know what the score is. Maybe you could report that to the crowd every time. I want y'all to know what's the electrician's name.
Joe Torres is an electrician that retired, and he told me that all he wanted to do is mow his yard and keep it pretty. And he's right here by the airport. So what Colby's talking about is I drive by there, and then I shoot him a text with a grade on how his lawn looks.
Now, the best part of that story. It's not that he was a successful electrician and built a business for 40 years. It's not that he said, after meaning and purpose and contribution, I need to rest, and I just need some time to be me and wake up and achieve one thing and then be done with that and be happy with my family. I think those two things are really important to talk about and really important pieces to the story. But it's the fact that you're driving by and something in your brain, based on your experience, based on your unique perspective, education, that you said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start texting him and giving him feedback about his lawn. Because he's waiting for it. He gets up and he's like, I wonder if Tom is going to hit me with that score today. Have you ever hit him low? Like, man, that's a 2 today, man. It's not looking good.
Well, it was dark last night, but he round up his edging and he did a big swath. So there's some brown all around his stuff. So today I'll deduct points from him, but I'm going to tell him, I'll send him a positive with a few negatives.
Send him in quotes, clean and green. Green and clean. That's the name of the game. That's an old Covey lesson, by the way. Green and clean.
Well, so my lawn maintenance story I still get paid to mow 2 airplane hangars here at the airport. So I'm still a professional
getting back to your roots.
Lawn guy. Yeah. And then the guy that I fly for part-time, Uncle Todd, he bought a lawnmower. Well, he's pulling out of the airport yesterday with his lawnmower as I'm pulling up to him. I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going to go mow my yard. I said, can you mow my 2? I'm tired. He goes, well, why haven't you done it? And I said, I got my lawn guy coming to mow it. He goes, the lawn guy has his own lawn guy. I said, yeah, one of my workers is mowing them right now because I can't keep up. I've been all over the U.S. right now.
Maybe that's why we were supposed to meet. So one of my favorite Wayne Williams stories. And Wayne Williams is my stepdad, but he's my dad. He took my life over at 1. All right. And I've never seen anyone have the quiet resolve. In 20 years, this guy never had a bad day. Jack's seen me have more bad days than I can count, my son. And so he came to us. We moved to 635 Tut Hill Lane, and I thought we had finally arrived. We're on the good side of town. You know what I mean? And so it was a house that sat up on a hill, and the grass was about 3 feet high when we bought it. And he went and purchased a manual mower. All right. And so he showed me how to sharpen the blade. He showed me how to put it together. He showed me how to maintain it. And then he showed me how to cut the grass. It was a regular yard. I mean, this was not a big piece of land. And it probably took me 6 to 8 hours to cut that thing. And it's 2 inches to 3 inches, 4 inches forward, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches back. And so I went all summer cutting that grass. And I finally, something snapped in me. And I went inside to him. And I said, let me ask you a question. He said, yeah. I said, why you make me cut that grass with that manual mower? Why can't I get a gas mower?
Yeah.
Because I drive, we come down the street and I see all these people with these just incredible mowers that were self-propelled. And I didn't even know what that was. And he said, without hesitation, I don't like the noise. Okay? So I turn and take 2 steps back. And I paused and I looked at him and I'm like 12, 13, 14. And I said, you're inside. And he goes, I can still hear it. Now listen to what he was set up. The setup is in the setup. So he come back in that night, take that shower. You know what it feels like after you do that kind of physical work for 10 hours a day.
And the shower's brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd done it.
Yeah.
20 years.
And then you get out and you feel amazing, right?
Yeah.
And so he came back to me and goes, I've been thinking about that question you asked me about why. He goes, sounds like to me you're ready to take the next step and get another kind of mower. And I said, my eyes lit up. I'm like, yeah. He goes, now if I take you to Sears, you can look around and you can choose the one you want, but you're going to pay for it.
Oh, shit.
So I didn't care. It was my way to freedom.
Yeah.
Now listen to how genius this cat is. So we're in there and we're walking around. He goes, you know what I think might be good? Is if you bought the one you wanted and then you started knocking on some doors and you started cutting other people's grass in the neighborhood. And he's like, I think you could probably make some money. So I got that mower, came home, tested it out on our yard. The same yard that took me 6 hours to cut, I cut in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And I got at the top of Tut Hill Lane and I just started knocking on doors. And 3 of them answered. It was $25 to do everything back in the day. And so I tell people my first hard skill was cutting grass. And my second hard skill was knocking on doors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who taught me and set up the setup to make all that happen? Wayne.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. And that's the part that we skip with kids today. Before you can run, you got to learn to walk and crawl.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jack said it best, and Jack is going in transitions of life, and he's moved on, and he's in a really cool place, and I can feel the pressure when I talk to him. But I said, why do you think people your age behave this way, other than being in your 20s? And the obvious answer. He said, Dad, now listen to how insightful this is. My generation, and you know this because we've talked about it, was given way too much and seen way too much, way too early.
Yeah.
And I think about going to the St. Louis Cardinals game and Ballpark Village and staying at a high-end hotel that had a bathtub that was bigger than the pool that we used to go to when we were kids. And the experience that we had. And all of that was normal for him.
What I read a deal the other day that said a 20, 22, 24-year-old kid is expecting to have everything and anything and everything that their parents spent 30 or 40 years building and developing.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
And then they feel like they've failed.
Yeah.
And these, you're a professor at a university, so you've
Don't
been
hold that
dealing
against
with,
me, please.
you've been dealing with college kids for what, 25 years now?
30 years.
And I've been dealing with college kids at the restaurant and bars they frequent for 10 years now.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
You're in the classroom, I'm in the other classroom. And they have, they're in higher education for hopes and bigger dreams.
Yep. Supposedly.
But I feel like the majority of them right now have their reality
Is
distorted on where they're supposed to be at 23.
Yeah, I think they may have hopes, but I don't know if they have dreams. Because I think the phones in their hands are dream killers. And what they would rather do is scroll and look at other people's dreams than to find their own dream. If you come to my Center for Student Coaching and Success on the campus of MTSU, if you had come in its first iteration, there was a quote on the wall. And I got this by listening to this CD way back in the day. And it was talking about how do you define success.
Well, I've got that question at the very bottom.
Well, I can answer it then too.
Now fire it off
in
now.
a different way. But the quote, I was listening. Jack was like 4 years old. I used to drive him around in Murfreesboro to get him to fall asleep so I could have just the time to catch my breath. It was so important for me to make sure I spent every possible time that I could with him that I moved all my classes to night so that I could be the one that was with him during the day. And I cherish those moments. When the times get tough, I close my eyes and I think about my time with that boy because I miss him. And a boy next to a dad's one of the coolest opportunities to be alive in life and feel alive. But I played the definition. I played that little sound clip over and over again, and it's Thoreau's definition of success. And what Thoreau's definition of success and why it ties into what you're talking about with hopes and dreams. He says that success is about advancing confidently in the direction of your own dream and to endeavor to live a life that only you can imagine, where you will find uncommon success and common hour. What we don't have now is a process to teach people how to advance confidently related to the direction of their own dream, because kids don't dream anymore. They don't lay in bed and think about that self-propelled mower.
They want it delivered via Amazon and the lawn mowed for them.
They want somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
They don't even want to do it themselves. And so we got.
How do we change that?
Yeah, we got a real problem. Well, you first get them to admit that that's the reality. It goes back to what we talked about: agreed upon reality, agreed upon future, tension in the middle, culture or dysfunction. When I have kids in my class, I said, "Man, just admit it to me," and they finally do. And I said, "So what do you really want? You go and lay in bed tonight, and you think about what do you really want." And if I could boil that down to two things, here's what it is: lifestyle and freedom. Lifestyle is not the car you drive. Lifestyle is not the house you have. You're a great example of lifestyle. Getting paid for your value, not your time. Freedom is doing it with people you want to do it with.
Yeah.
The reason that I love coming doing this podcast is over the last 6 months, off of one handwritten letter that had all your cool brands on it. I'm like, this guy he heard me speak one time. He took the time to write me a letter. I'm going to call this cat and I'm going to figure out who he is. And then from there to be in a place where our conversations have evolved to really talk about the truth about what's really going on in our lives and how do we make sense of it?
Yeah.
And how do we get to a better place? What God says it this way: the first thing you got to do is take care of yourself. The second thing you got to do is take care of your family. The third thing you got to do is take care of people you don't even know. And I think because I've spent my whole life doing that and been modeled by coaches and teachers to do that, that I've been able to stay out of prison and not die yet. And I've been close on both.
Oh, that is how I met Colby. I like to send handwritten thank you cards to people. I feel like the chances of you getting a handwritten thank you card in your lifetime from somebody are pretty slim.
Yeah.
Pretty slim. And I don't even know how I picked that up, but and I kind of relay it back to the same thing as I'm doing it just to see what will happen. And if it makes somebody happy for, a few minutes out of their day, then I did my job.
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing it.
It's the intimacy of paper.
Yeah.
There is an emotion that happens when you get something that is made of paper, because we just don't use it anymore, and you're able to open it and feel it. And study after study shows that the level of cognition goes up when there's paper involved. And so that those words are coming off the paper, and there's meaning. And I think more than anything, we are starved for meaning in our lives more than ever. And you read it, and it starts to touch you in ways that most things won't.
Yeah. I like, this is why I always like being in the room with people that have PhD in front of their names, because they're fucking smart.
Well,
and dig deep and
dude, I've just
analyze just a piece of fucking paper with handwritten letters on it.
I was born with something called remnants of the pupillary membrane. I was born with spider webs on my eyes, and the doctors told my parents, they set the bar low for me. They said, you better not expect much from him, because he's not going to be able to do much. And so when your senses are dulled in that way, then other senses start to develop. I'm also a middle child. My older brother did it first. My younger brother did it better. I go to a middle child conference every year called Thanksgiving.
Really?
No, that's a joke. It's just being able
the middle child conference called Thanksgiving. I got it.
But I will tell you this, there is a middle child conference, and I've always wanted to go, and maybe this is the year that I do it. But you develop skills as a middle child, and one of them is survivor skills. And so I would walk into rooms and say very quickly to myself, why am I in this room right now, and what do these people want from me, so that I can give them what they want so that they will leave me alone? Well, that's self-awareness, and it's the gateway into emotional intelligence. And so because of the spider webs on my eyes, and because of being a middle child and learning very quickly that I needed to walk into a room, understand why I was in that room and what they wanted from me, I've developed those skills over the last 52 years.
Yeah.
That's why I'm able to do what I do. I can walk in and I feel it from other people. I can feel what's really reverberating from them and what's really going on with them. And if you look at my career path, I think it speaks to being born. The odds of you being born in this world are 1 in 400 trillion.
Yeah, I like this.
Why are you there? What is it that you owe yourself? What are the elements of a life well lived? And how can you create value for other people? How can you? It doesn't say what is the key to greatness. It doesn't say becoming great. It says the key to greatness is serving many. So the question then becomes, how do you want to serve? Mm-hmm. And for me, it was coaching and teaching, and it always will be.
Are you the one that said, you've already done gigantic things? You came out of the womb, you couldn't walk. Who said that?
I don't know. I like that.
Well, I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
You've accomplished gigantic things when you came in. Well, first you're 1 in 400 million.
Yeah, 400 trillion.
400 trillion.
And that's true because it's on Google.
That's right. And ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And then second of all, you've accomplished gigantic things and you don't even remember it. And people are like, what? I go, well, you couldn't walk.
Yeah.
How many months did it take you falling over and getting up and trying and bumping your head and your knees? And then the next thing you know, you're walking. And then the next thing you know, you're walking at a fast pace and you're running. You're doing such a good job at it that you're getting yelled at because you're running to the street. And these little tasks, it's amazing when you pick up a small task and you're trying to teach people and they're going, I can't fly this airplane. And I'm going to training on August 1st and I go sit in a very high-tech airplane last week. It's got all these new buttons and APUs, auxiliary power units that run this while the engines are off and that and this. And so I went and sat in that airplane the other day And it's just like you've been told that you're not going to be able to do these things. You're not going to get your PhD. Well,
Yeah.
I have a PhD in aeronautics and flying and operating airplanes. And it's the hardest damn thing that you could ever study. And probably most of my life, people thought this dumbass will never operate that piece of machinery. And so last week I'm going into this. We have training next week. I'm already been in the airplane looking at all this stuff. And I'm going one button at a time. What does ECS mean? What does it control? How does this happen? When does it need to be on? When does it need to be off?
I love that.
And so instead of breathing down, from a fire hose in class in Orlando next week, I'm going to go in there with a little bit of knowledge. I already know what the engines are. I already know how much thrust they produce. I already know why this turns on, this is off. So all these complicated tasks, if you eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah.
The house gets built one nail at a time. So when you break down these complicated processes into one nail at a time, it helps.
No doubt about it. There's actually a theory behind that, and it's called Harder's competence motivation theory. And what you're describing here. And Susan Harder in the 70s studied little kids playing soccer. And she watched how the coach would teach them how to master skills. And so if you read the study, I'll boil it down to exactly what you're talking about. The conclusions that she came to in Harder's competence motivation. How do you use motivation to then get to mastery skill, to understand how to do the skill, master the skill, and then use that to continue to become more and more competent. And so the takeaways from me from that were, before you can master two things, you got to master one thing. Mm-hmm. And then if you're teaching it to other people, the takeaway to me was from the studies, Harder's competence motivation theory, is that what do you want them to master, and in what order do you want them to master it? Boom. Genesis moment for the talent development framework. If we want to teach people how to master their own talent, what they were gifted, born into this world, 140 trillion, then what do I want them to master? But more importantly, in what order? The very foundation of the talent development framework, narrative. We're all born with a story that is either written for us or by us. If you don't know your story, you can't change. Mm-hmm. If the person that is coaching you doesn't know your story, they can't help you change. That is the foundation. That is the first thing I want you to master in the talent development framework. And by the way, we're going to use an assessment called Harrison Assessment, and I'm going to get you to take this one assessment, and I'm going to push this report over to you, and it's going to say your life themes. And underneath it, it's going to give you those. Mine, when I took it, warmth, empathy, wants high pay, wants to lead, influencing. And I'm like, this thing's in my head. Mm-hmm. What do you want them to master? In what order? What did you say? One button at a time.
Yeah.
What do you want them to master? And in what order? We're going to build a restaurant. What do we want them to master? I think it should be, and by the way, I wrote an article for Forbes Coaching that you need to get. And it's Lessons from the Bear. Have you watched The Bear? Mm-mm. I should stop this podcast right now.
I mean, we can go to Dairy Queen right now.
No. No. I can do that in Murfreesboro. I cannot go to Playa del Carmen. What is the name of the place?
What, the pop shop we went to?
The pop shop. So The Bear would be a question that I would build for any interview to come to any one of your 9 entities. And The Bear is truly about a character, a very complex character that decides that his path to greatness is through his love of food and his mastery of the culinary arts, and then building a team together in Chicago and the struggles that they go through. And there's multiple seasons. It's absolutely fantastic. One of the episodes that I focused on.
Who was that by?
Well, it's on Fox. It's called The Bear.
Oh.
It's a show.
I don't watch TV.
Well, you're going to watch this.
Okay.
Because it's you. It's really, really good.
I'll watch YouTube. Well, you're talking about the bear and growing an organization. I'm thinking about other businesses, and it could be a 5-man business or 5-person organization or a 500-person organization.
Well,
but
before you interrupted me rudely as the podcast host, the episode was every second counts. So what's the very first thing that you said when we started talking about one of your successful restaurants? You said they're getting things out, they're hitting the numbers every 10 minutes. You use some kind of metric. And so the entire episode, the theme of that runs through the entire first season or second season, I can't remember which one it is, but it's every second counts. And what you learn is that the person that taught him how to master the environment of the cook and what the chef is supposed to do, everything is yes, chef, is that every second counts. It will, the show, you may not watch television, but you need to watch this series because that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so imagine now you come into one of your organizations and you say a prerequisite here is to watch at least this episode. If you don't want to spend the time to watch the whole thing, which why would you not? Everyone needs something to escape from the realities of life. And then come back to me and tell me what you took away from that. What did you take? For me, it was every second counts.
I mean, that's the thing that we're working on, and I'm trying to ask that question for listeners or people that are having problem in their organizations. It's, hiring well, training, motivating, all of these things that you've discussed. And if you send these people to watch the bear and they come back and says every second counts, then they've got it. And that's who you want on your team.
But you're going, but what about the people that don't? Is that right?
I'm just trying to get out of you in the next however long key principles on building quality organizations. And because that's kind of where I'm struggling at 2 of the places right now, and I'm trying to fix it. I mean, the questions burning on my mind are to pertinent events going on right now. So it's
so tell me some of I've given you several of the building blocks. What are some of the things that we've talked about? Number 1, define leadership.
Yeah.
If you say that leadership's important, if you say that leadership is what makes a difference, then define what leadership is. And it doesn't need to be some textbook term.
Yeah.
And then once you define what leadership is, then from there, it's saying then what are the competencies, the behaviors, the skills, the traits. And then we are going to recruit. We're going to have people take an assessment that is going to say you are or you're not capable of doing these things over time and in pressure-filled situations. Because none of this matters if you, the old concept's simple in corporate training, teach, test under pressure. Put them in a room where somebody comes in and role plays as the client that's aggressive and watch them and see when they break. So that's one of the things that we talked about. What is leadership within, not just in that one organization? What you need to do is look at Bonner Enterprises and come up with an emotionally compelling definition of what leadership is. Write this down. You're a leader on a team defining culture. You're a leader on a team defining culture. I'm not one of these people, and other people can call me and tell me I'm wrong. That's their opinion. I'm not one of these people that says everybody in an organization is a leader.
Well, I was asking that question using a line cook as an example. Like, are we ever going to get this guy to be a leader? The answer is no.
Leaders get paid to do 3 things: solve problems, make decisions, and package up information in a way that other people can get it.
Yeah.
That's, to me, what leaders get paid to do. Leaders also get judged on what? One thing:
What is that?
Results.
Yeah,
That was
true.
way to put that right back on me. That was good. That shows me that we're very similar.
I went to college. I stopped one class short of getting my degree.
Well, I don't want to hear more about that. Why would you do all that? We got to get you back to MTSU and get that one class, buddy.
I
Get you an honorary doctorate.
I'll take that because that's easier.
Well, we can do it. I'm happy to do that. You can fly over once you push the button, so many buttons. So if leaders and managers get paid to do those three things, solve problems, make decisions, package up information, then we should start foundationally with recruiting people that know how to do those three things and coach and teach and promote and train and develop to that. Mm-hmm. And then the second thing is that leaders and managers are judged on results. And those results then define, and this is such a key part, this will help you understand what's going on across all of the modern enterprises. Those results define whether you go up in your career or go down in your career. Can you see I've started to take the gum and what happens to me when I take this focus gum?
That's the neurofocus gum.
Let's put it, and I want to know about that guy. Hell yeah.
I know, but I don't know if I continue on.
All right, up, down. Now here's the cultural phenomenon that happens. Or stay right where you are. And if you stay right where you are, that is called the Peter Principle. It happens to every one of us. It happens to dentists. It happens to people that start law businesses. It happens to college professors. I can tell you for me where it was. The exact moment it was for me is it's this psychological phenomenon, cultural phenomenon that happens where we all rise to our highest level of incompetence. We don't teach people that. We teach people that you can rise to your highest level of what?
Competence.
Potential.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, you can be anything you want to be, which is not true.
Nope.
Tommy can be anything he wants to be if he does the skilled, intentional practice to be that. The reason that you're going to get to fly those planes, the big boy planes, is because you're going to go in and do the work and get the training and then practice the training and do the deliberate practice to get to the outcome that you want. The reason that I can sit here, and I told you yesterday when we were talking, I said, I can sit on that podcast for as long as you want and deliver soundbite after soundbite after soundbite because I have practiced and gone through this so many times that I've sat in the parking lot and said, I did everything they said I should do. And I'm still not anywhere close to what I want to be. Then I met Joe Calloway one time, who to me is the greatest author in that space that we live in, that we're talking about here. I called him one day and I said, Joe, I'm not crazy. I'm not a serial killer. I'm a bored college professor that wants to be you. He started laughing in the way that only Joe can. And he says, well, why don't you come see me? And man, I'm broke. I'm 35. I'm making no money. I got kids. I got a wife that has huge expectations, wild expectations about the success I'm supposed to create, not only for myself, but for them. And I go up there, and in 5 hours, I walk out with three words: focus, clarity, and direction about what I wanted for my life. So the Peter Principle is real. We all rise to our highest level of incompetence. If you go to your place of employment and you say, how did that idiot get his job? Or her job. It's because they rise to their highest level of incompetence and they can't go any further. We say to Tommy at 8, you can be anything you want to be. And at 18, we say, hey, Tommy, we don't care what you do. Just get out of the house. Mm-hmm. And Tommy looks around and he goes, where was the college that you're one class short?
Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
You are kidding me.
No, I'm not.
Did you really go there and get to the wind and have one class?
Yeah.
And how long ago was this? What year?
Many moons.
Okay. And no one's, so I see you're getting comfortable. But this is what I do. Uncomfortable. No one said to you, you need to go back and get this class for your own purpose, for your own soul.
Well, I went and signed back up many moons later, but they were like, you need to take 10 classes. And I was like,
Well, let me tell you this, my friend. The economics of higher education have changed.
do you just have to write a check?
I think it would probably be one class, but I'm happy to call and explain it to the president to say, let me tell you why this would be a really, really good story for you. I'm happy to do that. But you need to do that for yourself, not for anybody else, as we hear airplanes fly over us here.
Well,
But at that, do you believe that happens at 8? We say you can be anything you want to be. At 18, we say we don't care what you do, just get out of the house.
Yes.
That's true. Do you believe that people rise to their highest level of incompetence?
for sure.
Yes. And so for me, it was doing the TED Talk. I was starting to become the speaker I wanted to become. I could feel it. But my approach back then was, let me come to your event. I will go to the cocktail hour the night before the event. Tell me the 6 to 10 people you want me to meet. I will talk to them. I will go back to my hotel room. I will sit and stare at the wall, and I will put together my speech based on what they said to me.
Yeah.
I will get up the next day and do that. That's one skill set. I think less than 2% of speakers have the ability to do that. You know the speakers, and you know who I'm speaking about here. They're going to come in and they're going to give you the speech that they want to give you, whether you want that or not. And good for them. And I'm sure they're great at delivering it. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to come in. I'm going to get in the middle of it with you because for me, it's about those people and making sense of their life. So if we know all that to be true, then we need to start building systems and processes so that face this reality. And so for me, it was doing the TED Talk. Well, the TED Talk is a total different exercise. The TED Talk is, you're going to come in. We're going to give you a shot. Put this together for us. We're going to call you back 2 weeks later. Do it again. The same way. We're going to call you back in a week. Do it again the same way. Then do it again the same way. Then get on this red dot, and you better deliver it exactly how you said you were, or we're going to hammer you. So you're sitting there. So let me tell you my first TED Talk. You can imagine what's going through my head because here's what happened. It's a room that's about this size, not much bigger. And I'm the last speaker of, let's say, 15 speakers. The room's about 85 degrees. I'm the last speaker of 15-hour days. I have black mold in my house and I don't know it. My heart rate is so elevated that I think I'm going to pass out. And I said, I don't care. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to deliver the mail. Jack is in there. I got that pressure coming. I got all these other people that have been there for 15 hours. And so it's working in my head. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. And I'm thinking to myself, these people want to get out of here. I got to get through this. The clock's coming at me. Every second counts. Well, I get through it. And I give myself a C minus, which it bothered me. I sat in that car pissed on the way home to Nashville. And I said, but here's the coaching point. This is the most beautiful part to this. I'm a kinesthetic learner. Once I do something, once I push the buttons one time and get up there and fly the plane and land it, now I know how to do it. And I got up there for that second one. And my second TED Talk, and I love the name of my first TED Talk. It's because of you, my life is better. It's about what coaches did for me and thanking them publicly, which I love that I could figure that out and did that. And that's a great story in hour 3, if you want me to tell you that story. And so my second TED Talk is called What Darius Rucker and my son Jack taught me about reinvention, and the absolute joy that I felt in doing that and walking off and saying, before you can build version 2, you got to build version 1. Most people would not go build version 1 of doing a TED Talk.
Yeah.
TEDx Talk, not TED Talk yet. But my next thing is I want to do a TED Talk on talent development. And I think I can, and I'm not going to stop till I get there.
Well, tell me more about the talent development framework company, because that leads into that.
Well, the company is, you're looking at drjubenville.com. Yep. All of me.
Handsome man.
Thank you. I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I mean,
Well, what if I said ugly man?
I would argue with you. I mean, no wonder you didn't get to that last class.
Yeah.
Hey, you know that MTSU has a freaking aeronautics aerospace. They just built a brand new airplane. I mean, airport.
Yeah, I've flown into there. They've got a good program.
Well, I mean, I think
they've got a great program there, and they got airplanes running all over the place.
I think we may have a. Let me ask you this question before I answer.
Are you telling me one day I'm going to be somebody?
Well,
if I can hang that back here, I mean,
what was the name of that book from the 70s?
The class.
I Ain't Much, Baby. There's a self-help book. It's one of the first ones ever. It's called I Ain't Much, Baby, but I Am All I Got.
The class was accounting, and I had convinced myself that I'm so bad at math that I just. Well, I guess
we'll get Connie to take it.
Let me give you. Well, we're going to give you the honest part. I paid my beautiful ex-wife's sister to take this class, and she got a 69 in the class. And I go, man, that's just the end of that. So, and I was mowing grass and doing good anyway. Then the airlines lowered the expectations, saying you didn't have to have a college education.
Well, I mean, dude, you got to have accounting to fly, right? I mean, you're going to be balancing your checkbook while the thing's on autopilot. I mean, it's unbelievable. Market specific knowledge, man.
There's a lot of.
Did you? Let me ask. I've got very similar stories. I don't know if I can share those stories with you here.
Don't tell that you paid anybody. To
no,
take
I
your
didn't.
class.
No. It's not.
That was all me.
It's not to that level. But. Did you go to the professor and try to or get her to say, you know,
this was right when online classes came out. Embry-Riddle was the first university to start doing online learning in the U.S.
And let me just
and
go ahead
they really pioneered it.
Let me just publicly say that you should not have done that. That's number one. But if you did get that far, we got to help you get that done.
Well, I went because of me being at Texas Tech and around students all day. I thought, I'll go finish this thing and send in everything to Embry-Riddle, and they're like, you need 10 more classes or something. I'm going, oh man, I'm not. Well,
you just didn't go about that the right way. But now that you've got me in the community, then if that's something that you want to do, I'm committed to making that happen. But drjubenville.com is the platform. And the business that it's a really opportune time to talk about it. I'm looking at several different options to monetize that intellectual property, and we live now in a world where through artificial intelligence, and I am a huge proponent, and I believe that, and I can speak to why I see and why I believe that higher education should embrace AI in the learning environment and teaching environment. But we now do live in a world where you can marry intellectual property with artificial intelligence and create the outcome that you want to create that I believe is meaningful for the student. Meaningful meaning moving the needle to create the change, to live the life that they're supposed to live and become the person that they're supposed to become. We teach people this to set the stage for the discussion about the business and the intellectual property. We teach people that if you want more, you got to have more education, more experience, more relationship, more opportunity. All that may be true. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, if you want more, the reason that we're sitting here in a hangar with your dad and all of this cool stuff is that if you want more, the very first thing you have to have more of is yourself. And what Tommy has and what Colby has and what other people need to figure out if they want to get paid for their value and not their time, if they want to change the trajectory of their life, is get more themselves. I will never apologize for who I am, ever. I've done some stupid things in my life. I've made mistakes in my life. I think that is part of being alive. But I wake up every day and I know this, it is my responsibility to wake up and feel alive and be alive and help other people become alive. And I take that on every single morning when I go to the gym and work out.
Well, I think you do a good job of it. What does it mean when you're doing that and you're coaching, you're training? What does it mean on your end to be a trusted advisor? How can people link up with you? Question. How can they work with you?
Well, and so I want people that are interested in talent development. We talk about it, how important it is, talent development. On my wall, if you come now, what's replaced the quote of to advance confidently in the direction of your own dream, that Thoreau quote. It says now talent development is our first responsibility. And I believe that's the case. And what we say in companies and what we say to young people is the very first thing you have to do is figure out what you're passionate about, which I just think is absolutely stupid. What you have to figure out is what are you naturally curious about? And that's Daniel Pink's stuff. That's not my stuff. And Pink talks about different places of motivation, purpose, progress, mastery, autonomy. I've always been motivated by progress.
So progress is what motivates you.
Me, yes. When I am at my best, it's when I have, like today, coming and seeing Charles, working with you and doing this. This is progress on things that are meaningful for me. It'll fill me up for a week. I can use this progress to be motivation to go and get involved and take risks and push harder on things that I wouldn't have before because I have this progress. It is not, purpose is something that's important to me, but my mom and I get into this conversation, or we used to, and I'd say, Mom, I've had enough purpose for 10 people. I started a college football team in 1998 with no phones, computers, players, uniforms. I've started sport management programs. I went and got my PhD to find my own calling and purpose. I don't need more purpose. What I need is more progress. I don't need more mastery. I've got talent development down in such a way, I don't care if you put any expert in here that says they're an expert at anything, they're not going to be better than me at talent development. I've got a framework. I've got a process. I know how to move pieces around to get people to engage and get more of themselves. Have you ever heard anybody else so clearly articulate? We teach people if you want more. Colby, you got to go get more education. All those things, more education, more experience, more relationships. All that may be true. But if you don't have more of yourself, you're not going to get to where you want to get to. That's the key. So how do you get more of yourself? It starts with the story you tell yourself. I'm Colby, Karen and Wayne's son. My older brother did it first. My younger brother did it better. My older brother was better at me in football. Hey man, maybe one day you'll be better than you'll never be as good as your brother. You know? Then I go on to college. Well, your brother's better at roads. No, he's not better than me. I got awards to prove it. I got that award sitting on my wall in my office that says Colby Jubenville, defensive lineman. I got all these awards. I love all those other awards. They have a little bit of meaning in my life. But that one where Raniger, who called me Corey, not Colby, called me up and he said, this year's defensive lineman of the year is Corey.
Oh, shit.
And he pulls me up and he says, boy, this is the most he said to me in 4 years. Playing football for 4 years, every single day, beating my head in. Boy, you've earned it. But here's the best part about that story. I walked out of that banquet and I said to myself, if I can beat him, a dude's philosophy was to battle test you. So when you went to go play Rhodes, when you went to go play Sewanee, when you went to go play Trinity, that you didn't care what they brought to you because he brought it harder.
Yeah.
And we'd lose games, but we wouldn't lose them by much. And it was only because we ran about 4 plays on offense and had 2 defenses. That's how I lost the game.
It's to me listening to you and a lot of
It's the gum, dude.
no the listening to you and other athletes. It's really incredible how much the foundations of sports.
It's the coach-athlete relationship. I wrote my dissertation about it.
Yeah.
He'd walk by, he'd say, Corey. And I wouldn't make eye contact with him. He'd go, hey, boy, you know what a hill of beans is? And I said, I'd look down, I'd say, no, sir. I think about 18-year-old Colby. You go out into that, at Millsaps, you'd walk up this hill. I can remember the first time, it took my breath away. You walk up there and there's 80 dudes that are all bigger and faster and stronger. And for the last 2 years, you've worked your way up to being the biggest, fastest, strongest dude on your team. And everybody's like, yeah, Colby's he's the best line. He's one of the best linemen we got. He can help us win games. And you go out there and you realize it's either kill or be killed. Mm-hmm. And then you go out there and here's my favorite. I got so many favorite stories about Millsaps. They had helmets, but they didn't have one that fit me. So he made me practice the first 2 weeks without a helmet. I'm not making this up. You can call Joe Don Samples if he's listening to this today. He was the assistant coach. His wife ran the Millsaps mail post office, and she called because she was so worried about me. She's like, Joe Don, I've got his helmet. We need to make sure that he gets it. We go play Sewanee up on the mountain. All right, we go up there. You take this bus up this mountain, and the bus is going over the mountain. And I'm thinking, this bus is going to fall off the mountain. And we go up there and we play and we lose. He gets the whole team together. 80 dudes. I can still smell the bus fumes, the diesel. And he always pointed like this. Never like this. Always like this. He'd always do this. Corey. And he'd say, boys, y'all know why we lost the game today? He said, because Corey don't know how to play football. Oh. So I'm sitting there. And I'm looking down, and he says, so if you see him, tell him, Corey, you lost the game for us. Oh. So I go to get on the bus, and Flint Minshew, whose son Gardner, plays in the NFL. He's been a backup quarterback for some great teams, most recently the Kansas City Chiefs. And Flint was like about 6'4", 260, black belt in karate, transferred in from Southern Miss. Puts his arm around me. He goes, he's from Mississippi. He goes, Colby, Coach Raniger only picks on people he likes. And he goes, in hell, he must love you. So I go get on that bus, and I lay down, and there's dip spit and sardine cans that are rolling over me. All right? Every time we go up one side, go down one side. Roll over me. My back hurts so bad. I'm just laying there. I can't get my breath. I take a breath, put in my earphones, better than Ezra, my tape.
On a CD player?
Nope.
Tape.
Yeah, tape. It was a tape. Yeah, I think it was tape. And I'm listening to good. And I lay down there and I said to myself, if this is as bad as it's going to be, I'm going to be okay. And I think that getting off that bus and coming to the realization that Raniger was there to battle test you, and that Raniger's philosophy, people ask me, what's the one thing that you took away from playing for college football, Division III college football? If I could boil it down to one idea, it's how to use adversity to accelerate growth, learning how to use adversity to accelerate growth. I would imagine that's why you've got the 9 operations that you've got. Because see, here's what happened. Here's the takeaway for the audience. Once you learn how to do that, it becomes your greatest competitive advantage. Put me in any room. I don't care what it is. You take me to that restaurant and you put me in with those people. I will do agreed upon reality, agreed upon future until I break someone that says, it may not be break. Maybe it's a vulnerable moment. Vulnerability fuels connection. Maybe they go, 90% of the people hate coming to work here. Okay. Let's take a big piece of paper and put it up on the wall and write why that's the case. Because if you'll tell me what it is, Well, fix it. If I was going to give you one piece of advice to go back and get this new place where you want it.
I would have told them to leave at that point. But
Now,
you have other ways to get to them.
Yeah, well, you're stuck right now, right?
Slightly.
So, yeah.
But the good thing, this is a perfect example of why I'm not stuck. I'm out right now looking for ways to get over this.
And there's multiple ways to do it.
I'm not going to stop. I'm not stuck, but I'm stuck.
Well, let me say it better. Thank you. You feel stuck.
Yeah.
And so the only way that you stop the feeling of being stuck is taking freaking action.
Yeah.
And so then you said you would you say you would fire them? What did you say?
Yeah. I'd go, well, if you're not happy or you're whatever, hit the road.
So here's how I would tell you to do it. I would call in people that have been there the longest. And I would say, you know that we just made an investment and there's going to be long-term changes within the company. We love this place. We love what it means to the community. We want to develop that relationship with the community. And so I want you to tell me the 3 things that you know we should do. You know it would make life better for the company and you. And for some reason, the company just hasn't done it. I call that solving the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
You find out what's the 1 or 2 things that you can solve and make that announcement to everyone in the same room. You'll see the needle start to move.
Yeah.
Because for the first time in their life, they're saying, what? This guy actually maybe
cares.
Yeah. Care, try, learn, stay. Bert Thornton taught me that. I said, I spoke with Bert on a stage in Pensacola at Quint Studer's deal, Entrecon. And I said, how did he, if you look up Bert Thornton, Bert was the COO of Waffle House forever.
I love Waffle House.
I do too. One guy, when I was speaking one time, he said, Colby, you're a lot like Waffle House. You serve it up in a way that people can get it. And I'm like, damn. My favorite part about Waffle House is you can go in and order the same thing at 10 different locations and you get 10 different prices and you feel good about paying it. It's never the same. But he said, I said, how did you do it? How did you get people, recruit them to Waffle House? Think about the environment about going into a Waffle House.
Oy.
Thinking about being that line cook and being a leader. All right. And he said, we built a frame called Care, Try, Learn, Stay. The very first thing we had to show them is that we cared about them in ways that mattered to them. Once they started to believe that, then we asked them to try new things. Mm-hmm. Care, try. That led to them saying, I want to learn more about this. I want to learn more about this. I fundamentally believe that human beings have a natural desire to learn. We just beat it out of them. And they'll just say, hey, if you want me to read from this script right here that you put in front of me, I'll read it. Care, try, learn. And then ultimately, that's what will lead people to stay. I think it's a powerful idea.
Yeah.
Now, my stuff is aspirational, man. And you got to decide to make the commitment. And the commitment costs time, money, effort, energy.
Well, we've gone in and spent. It's interesting to listen to somebody that is, preaching the practices, and then it's to go back to people on my side of the table that are actually doing it, and living and breathing it. And I could tell you when we have implemented some of the things that take time, energy, effort, money from the employees, and we go in and we work on these systems.
Yeah.
The results that we have done
are mixed.
That's been wonderful.
Been good.
Oh yeah. We've gone into, we've been really trying to elevate one of our restaurants, Seafood and Spaghetti Works, to, the best experience people are going to have down in Port Aransas. And we took them from just doing what they were doing, coming in and getting by, to tableside presentations and greetings and this and that, splitting up sections. Instead of them having 6 tables, they have 5 tables, and they're freaking out because our tips aren't going to be what we want. Well, what happened? The guests got a better quality of service. Their tips ended up going up. And so these things that a business owner will say, oh, that shit's not going to work. Whereas I'll go in and I'll listen to what I learned from you guys and then go in and work on it. it actually works.
Clear expectations.
Yeah.
Write this down. Clear expectations. Resources to achieve those expectations. And develop your people. Those are the three things. Clear expectations, resources to achieve those expectations, and develop your people. Develop your people. Those are the three things in terms of engagement that keep people engaged at work. Now, here's the interesting thing that we're seeing is for 50 years, 1 and 2 have been 1 and 2. But now for the first time, 3 develop me, help me understand how I can grow within the company is moving to number 1. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think the hardest part for that server is? And this is a loaded question, but what do you think it is in the customer experience that's the hardest part for the server? What do you think it is? If you think about it this way, and I don't want to give you the answer because I want to see what you say. Think about it. Think about a customer experience in snapshots because they don't remember the movie.
Yeah.
The customer remembers the snapshots.
Yeah.
And so what are the snapshots? Tell me the snapshots in a customer experience at a restaurant.
Walking in, cleanliness.
Walking in, cleanliness. Keep going.
Host greeting.
How they greet them.
Yeah.
Keep going.
How long it took
to
get to the table.
Good.
How long it took the server to get to the table.
Good.
How that greeting was. Initial interaction.
Good.
And then how long the food took to get there.
You're close. Keep going.
First bite of the food.
Nice.
How the food was.
Yep. Then the piece de resistance. What happens after all that?
They get a nice bill.
Okay.
Which they call a check. I've already put it. I don't get that, but I call the bill a bill. It's so ingrained in my head that I can't even say.
I say the bill.
Give me the check. Give me the bill.
Yeah.
The bill, and then when they departed the restaurant.
So the hardest part about all of that, in terms of subjectivity, from the customer's perspective, and they walk around with the specs in their head.
Well, they know it all now.
Is when do you give them the bill?
Yeah.
And so I've seen techniques at restaurants where they'll come over and at night, they'll have, let's just say, a thing of cognac. Can't talk today. And they'll say, we're going to leave this here. We've left you with 1 shot to finish off the night. You can have as many shots as you want, and here's your bill whenever you're ready. And what they found is that they would only take that 1 shot, and that they didn't mind being interrupted, and the waiter didn't have to decide when the bill was. Do they feel like I'm rushing them out? Do I need to get them moved out of here? When is the right time to do it? And if you ask those people, they went back and surveyed them. The thing that they said that they remembered the most is that they brought that little shot over at the end, and that meant something to them to get something meaningful at the end. But really, it was a Trojan horse to bring the bill to say, it's here, but drink as much as you want. We poured the first shot for you. They poured the first shot, put the bill, tip a little more, out the door.
Yeah.
It's thinking that way. What are you ultimately trying to accomplish in interacting with the customer? To me, and I can't, some of these folks don't get this. Every touch point is a way for me to get a bigger tip.
I agree.
And so the people, when I go places, because I've worked in that industry and I know how hard it is, you love on me, you treat me right, you make me feel like I matter, and you do it in a way that's meaningful for me. Back in the day, we used to go to Bonefish. That was the place to go. Mike Goodlow. I've introduced you to Mike. Mm-hmm. There was a guy named John Froneberger. He knew the cadence of how I wanted beer. He knew it. He had it down to a science. He'd bring it right on the cadence. I tipped that guy $100 every time I went in there because I didn't have. I felt like he cared about me. I was the man. I'd go up to Bonefish, baby.
Yeah,
make it happen. The big time. The cadence of what and when they want it.
Yeah.
Those are the nuances that you coach to as the leader. Help me understand what you're seeing here. Because what I want to try to show you is if we'll do this right, they'll post something about us on Instagram. You'll get a bigger tip and everybody's winning together.
Yeah. Getting that through to some of the employees is pretty interesting. They're stuck in their day to day.
Well, it's
the ones that get it and the ones that practice what you're preaching have been uber successful. And that's a whole nother thing to look at between the guys that understand this and practice it. Their year to date looks a lot different than the guys that don't practice.
So if I was having those
steps to service.
So I like it. Push the button, steps to service. You're on fire today. So if it were me and I had that thing, that business, I would bring in those folks. This is one of the hardest things from where I sit and I hear you about backsliding. And what Covey says in the backsliding is you got to keep affirming in the agreement. You're trying to build what's called a win-win agreement. And you got to get clear about the agreement first. And then once you get clear in the video that I told you to send suggested to send to your electrician that now gets scores about his lawn is
poor guy.
The video is called Clean and Green or Green and Clean. It's one of the two. But he's making agreements with his son about what he wants him to do. And one of the things that he says in there is there will be times that they backslide, but keep affirming and reaffirming in your people. The hardest thing to do is convince good people in business that they can do better.
Yeah.
And it is hard. They call it work for a reason. But to get all those people together and say, we changed the approach to how we touch the tables. Here's where we were 6 months ago. Here's where we are now. There's nowhere to hide if you put that in front of everybody.
Yeah. Oh, I had something, but it slipped my brain. The neurogum's not working. Let's chat about this opportunity that I've been given and see what you think about it.
All right.
There's a guy, I'm not going to say what town he's in, but he has developed a drink. Colby brought this neuro memory and focus gum this morning so he would be sharp as an axe. I mean, he slept at a nice house with a nice view.
Oh, amazing. I mean,
the boat overheated, so I don't know if we're going for a boat ride or not tonight, but I'd like to. But
it just means I have to come back.
This guy has developed a drink that's just like this neurogum. And he sent it through and has samples of it, but hasn't got it to distribution and marketing.
Yep.
And he wanted me to invest in it and have.
Well, here's how I'd invest in it. This is so simple. Do you want to do it?
Not for 15%. He lost me there pretty fast.
Well, here's what I would say. I would say I've got 9 restaurants, 9 establishments. You tell me what a rev share agreement looks like, where we in essence use these as laboratories to test the product.
I did.
And?
Well, continue. That's sort of exactly what I told him.
Well, I would, if you did that, then I would want to know some specific feedback that you got from what demographic and what they said about it.
I tried it with a few people, and it is so good because I drink Red Bull sugar-free.
Yeah.
And this stuff knocked it out of the park.
And so when you say that, knocked it out of the park, past platitudes, what did it specifically do that Red Bull doesn't do?
First of all, it tastes great.
Yeah.
I think Red Bull's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
It tastes great. It has a couple different flavors. I think there was 5 calories in it.
Okay.
And when I go to bars, I don't drink. So I need something in my hand.
Yeah.
And
something that'll keep you up all night.
Yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't keep you up all night.
It is an energy drink?
No.
It's just focus.
Neurogum's not going to keep you up all night.
It's just got focus.
Focus, clarity. It's got all kind. There's no sugar in it. It's got, I forget what it's got in it.
So it's not in a product category of energy drink. It's more of focus.
Yep.
Okay. So is that a crowded space? Are there other players in the game?
0.
All right. So I think there's three recommendations I would give you here. If you've gotten feedback and you've beta tested this with a core demographic, let's say of 20 somethings and 30 somethings, and they say, yes, I can feel the difference. Then the next step to me, the best thing he's got going for him is the name.
You like the name?
I love the name. Yeah. It's memorable. I think the name represents the product without you even knowing what the product. The minute you said it, I'm like, yeah, I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I know. I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
You know, what do they say in EOS? It's either a hell yes or a hell no. You know, and it's one or the other. And that's just how the customer needs to be made happy. Then to me, this simple. Well, the answer is simple. Rolling it out would take some work, but it's so doable today versus 10 years ago.
I have the ability to roll it out tomorrow.
Well, but I'm saying here's how I'd roll it out. With what you have, I would roll it out through social influencers in this Texas area.
Yeah.
And then I would capitalize on the inherent uniqueness of Texas and what Texas stands for, and get those videos built around how people see Texas, and that this drink is an extension of born in Texas, represents Texas. And so all of a sudden, kind of like Coors back in the day, when you got, man, this stuff is refrigerated all the way from the damn factory to the grocery store. You got, this stuff's better than other beer.
Oh, yeah.
This beer's better than other beer out there, man. This stuff's refrigerated the whole way. And so you kind of build on that same story, and you see if it'll catch fire. It reminds me of Liquid Death.
Oh yeah, how they're selling water.
Well, do you know how that started?
No, but I drink it.
He made it up before he sold it. He made it up, and the viral videos took off. The videos became viral and took off. And he said, well, I guess I got to create the drink now. It wasn't even real.
Oh, that's a good idea. It's crazy what'll happen when you take steps towards something instead of sitting there and doing nothing.
Well,
Shit happens. Shit happens. Well, Colby, what else you got for us today? Where you had a definition of success, and I like to ask people, first of all, what advice would you today give 20-year-old Colby Jubenville?
Oh, geez.
We got time, buddy. What advice would you tell your younger self that
everything bad in your life will happen because of alcohol? If it were me, based on what we know about it today, I just wouldn't invest time or energy in it.
I like to say that nobody gave up drinking and says my life's gone to shit since. I quit drinking and my life went to shit.
Double down on yourself. I did that when I got when Norman Joseph hired me at Belhaven College in Jackson, Mississippi, to start that college football team. I called him. I found out they were starting this program. I was in Hattiesburg, and I said, Norman, my name's Colby Jubenville. I'm going to call you every day until you call me back. And he finally called me back. 45 days later, we met at a Waffle House, and he said two things in that. He ordered like a double covered chunk diced hamburger, and I ordered a water because I was scared. And he said, well, you don't know anything about coaching offensive line. That's what he was going to hire me for. And I'd coached at like Petal Middle School the year before, Petal freshman in Petal, Mississippi, which is a storied football program, and learned some. But I was 20. No, I was 28, 29. He said, but I do think that you can help us recruit the right people. And I said, I know I can. They'll stay and graduate, and they'll be all conference all 4 years. And we set out on a 2-year run. We were ranked in the top 20s of small college football in that first year. And after 2 years, I'd burnt myself out. Well, the point to that younger self is do exactly what I did. Make bets on yourself every single day. The 4 rules of talent development in my mind are get around people better than you. Then decide what you want to get at to be better than them. And then number 3, make the pie so big, or make the pie bigger. And then make the pie so big, you start the bakery. And so step number 1 is to get around people better than you. It doesn't matter what they're better at. You don't know what you want to be better at yet. Mm-hmm. But the minute that you do and you see it, you're like, all right, yeah, I like that. I liked coaching college football, but I really just like coaching. And I knew I wanted to coach my kids, and that was really important to me. And so I think it's getting around people better than you and get all the negative substances out of your life, because they will just create problems.
I have been a horse with blinders with negativity and bullshit.
Yeah.
If it does not go into the bucket or where I'm aiming for, and it is an outside distraction,
I love that.
I do not want to fucking hear it.
That's good.
And I don't know if it's obvious to people or not when they're around me, but if they're not filling my cup with good shit, I just don't want to fucking hear it.
I think it's
And
obvious.
if you're an obstacle to my goal, just get out of the way.
Yeah.
I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So that's good advice. And getting around people that are better and smarter than you. How does somebody do that if they're a 25-year-old guy or girl that wants to bet? Where do they find these people?
It's like you got to go to the meetings. You got to go to the conference. You got to go to the seminar. You got to go out into the world. You can't do it behind your screen. It's like the first time I heard Doug Tatum. Doug runs the Moran Institute. It's a $100 million operation at Florida State. He started Tatum Enterprise and sold it for hundreds of millions of dollars. I heard him speak at a conference, and I walked up to him, and he was working at MTSU at the time. And I said, man, I don't know you, but I want to be you. It's calling Joe Calloway and saying, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah. I got to get to the next step. I reached out to him. I said, and what you will find, here's the rule that I tell people. If they're good people, they won't tell you that they're too busy.
People are approachable.
Well, the good ones are.
Yeah.
And they'll spend the time to help you. Now, it may not be in your timing, and it may not be the way you want it.
Yeah.
But if they give you that step, then what does God say? He says the first step, if you take one step closer to me, I'll do what? Take one step closer to you.
Yeah.
It's not a hard concept.
He'll open the door.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of my questions that I like, which I should probably stop saying. That's one of my questions that I like, and just carry on. But I'm learning.
Yeah, dude.
It's a process.
Every single day.
What, and you touched on it earlier, but what does success look like to you?
Yeah. Well, there's so many definitions of success.
You said moving one step closer
Yeah.
to what, your goal or movement, momentum?
Well, advance confidently in the direction of your own dream. That's the Rose definition. But if you look at how people define success, it's one of about 4 ways.
How's Colby define it?
Well, I think it's a combination of all these. We're taught from an early age that success is the continued expansion of worthy goals. We're taught that success is about continuing to get happiness in your life. Athletes know this, that success is about picking yourself up off the ground just one more time. But I think it's understanding that happiness is not the goal, that it's a byproduct of serving something bigger than yourself. And once you understand that it's not the goal, that it's a byproduct, that you get joy and meaning and purpose and contribution and happiness by deciding what is that thing that's bigger than you, then you'll start to feel levels of joy and happiness. I said to Jack when he went down to West Palm, I said, dude, I've said this to you now for 3 years. What do I say to you all the time? He said that I need to get more meaning into my life. And I said, yes.
Yeah.
And so he went and interviewed at a pretty cool school in West Palm, and was offered a chance to be on a coaching staff focused only on, and I love this for him because it's exactly where it needs to be, and it's going to change the molecules in his brain, but it's focused on skill development. So now he gets to wake up every day, he gets to work himself out, then he gets to go build relationships with young people. And Jack's been knocked down here recently, and he's called me and struggled through it. had difficulty getting through it, but Jack, you got to go through it to get to the other side of it, to understand how you can help other people.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's doing it. And so I said, just learn from it and don't do it again.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of stumbling blocks on your way. But success, all the people that you've been around that are quote unquote successful, they have houses, planes, vacation houses.
Yeah.
None of them would look at you and say, this is my success, would they? So all those goals and targets that people think are going to make them happy and feel successful, it takes a lot more than that to fill your internal, success cup.
I am.
Would you agree with that?
I'm happy, Nate. I'm the most fulfilled and feel the highest level of success when I'm at home in my house. Katie's cooking, and she's so great at that. And MB is sitting there just flipping through her phone, and I'm coaching her in the ways that she'll allow me to coach her now. And Jack's coming and going, and it's our family. And if you ask me 25 years ago why I woke up and did this every day, it's for those three people. And that's the truth. It really is. I don't know how to make it any other way.
Yeah.
In fact, you know what? I'm glad you said that. And we can wrap it up with these two things. I get off that Southwest plane and I walk out and I see this massive white dually truck with an extended bed and quad cab.
Welcome to Texas.
That's the first thing I said. Guy gets out. Comes over, fits the truck. Looks like he's put in a 20-hour day. Beard, jacked up, hat, glasses. Mom, got 2 kids. Huge smart cart, loaded up. 2 kids holding them back by their necks, their shirts. They're both screaming, what do you think? As loud as they can.
Dad.
Yeah. Dad, 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 dad. She finally can't stand it anymore, and the little girl breaks away, runs, jumps into his arms. The little boy is younger than the little girl. He comes running, runs straight into that knee and grabs him and holds on for life. And I'm trying not to cry. But all I could think about is what I just said.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk away and I get into that car that you sent for me. And I have an hour-long conversation with a dude that has done nothing but get up every day and reinvent himself.
Yeah.
And you get out of that car and you think about that family. And you think about that dude and the 19 businesses that he started. And that he's doing it with his wife. And the success that they're having together. And he said, all I really know how to do is work.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I know how to do. And it makes me think about what success really is 2 people working together, interdependence, common goal.
Yeah.
And I wonder what it's like when that family gets home and that guy's obviously worked all day and got grease on his face. And he tucks those kids in at night. And what day-to-day life looks like. And so what would success look like for me, for other people, for Jack, is to get into relationships. 2 people working together, 2 or more people working together, interdependence, common goal. Show me that people that do that, I'll show you better marriages. Show me that people that do that, I'll show you better companies. Show me that people that do that, I'll show you happier, more fulfilled, more meaningful, more joyous, and more successful people. What you and I know about both those men, and I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to it, but I know this about being a man and both those men. that life for us is about a series of reinventions, reinventing ourselves over and over and over again. And really in the back of our mind, what is the motivation? Is to take care of the people that are around us, that are part of our lives.
Yeah.
So that's a long answer to what success looks like for me. It's part reinvention, but it's all two or more people working together, interdependence, common goal. I walked out and I saw those people together and I thought, I saw God today, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Well, where can people find you at if they want to work with you, Colby?
Well, I'm going to give them your number, and then you negotiate the deal for me, and then you have them call me.
I'll add 200% on top.
I mean, this guy, I'm going to start saying, y'all need to know that Tommy Bonner is somebody that drives by people's yards and rates them scores based on his past history. So, drjubenville.com, but the easiest way, and I mean, my number's out there, 615-498-6802.
Find you. Well, if they weren't listening in the beginning, Colby flew in from Nashville yesterday, and I really appreciate you taking the 3 days that this is going to take to come in here and do this. And this is part of the privilege of me doing the podcast. And this is what's filled my cup for success, is to be able to sit across the table and listen to people with your kind of knowledge, and then spew it out onto the podcast. And it's been a great day. It's just starting. It's early.
Yeah. I mean, I've been hearing about this barbecue place
we're going to Burnt Bean Barbecue in Seguin, which is the #1 barbecue joint in Texas, which means the world, in Texas Monthly Magazine. And, you know, they do barbecue a little different in Nashville, Kentucky, on that side of the U.S. than they do here. But if you don't leave Burnt Bean thinking it was the best barbecue you ever had, I will give you your money back.
Thank you, Noah.
But I'm buying. So
you'll love this. I've got several friends and clients in Texas, and so I said, I'm going to this place called Burnt Bean, and he said, "Oh, dude, if you want the best, you let me know. I've got it." And so I'm like, okay, all you Texas guys keeping score on barbecue, what is it?
It's a big thing.
And he says, Hutchins Barbecue.
Oh, that's pretty good.
By me, beats anything in Texas I've ever had.
I don't know about that because I've been to Hutchins a few times, and Hutchins is really good. And that's what's neat about the barbecue community also. They stay pretty tight.
Yeah.
But if you want good barbecue up in Dallas and that area, Hutchins is a wonderful place.
That's where it is in Dallas.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, get that training for that flight done, and then we're going to work on getting you an MTSU degree in aerospace, and we'll
That'd
make it
be
happen.
badass. Well, thanks for coming, and let's go eat some lunch.
Let's do it, brother.
Thanks for watching Business Under Fire. We'd love it if you would share, like, and subscribe. See you next time.